Test audio. Hey, anybody on Zoom? Give us a jig if you can hear us.
Great.
Hey, thanks, Wendy.
You're welcome.
I can hear.
Grazie molto, David.
Turn the mics on. All right, it is 6:01 on Thursday, December 19th, 2024. And I'll bring this regular meeting of the Dunsmuir City Council into order. If everyone would please stand for the flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilmember Lucchese. Here. Councilmember Bryan.
Present.
Councilmember Hubbard.
Here.
Councilmember Sebring. Present. And Mayor Clarno.
Here. All right. We do not have any special presentations or announcements tonight, so we'll go straight into public comment. This is a time for any member of the public who so wishes to come up and address any matter of city business. If you're wanting to discuss an item on items number 10, old business, or item number 11, new business, there will be dedicated time to speak on those items. So I do ask that you hold your comments till that time. Everyone will have 3 minutes to speak. I will give a 30-second warning when your time is almost up. And with that, anyone who would like to speak may come up to the podium and do so.
Hello, Alex Brendel, Chester Avenue, resident. Testing 1 2. On the arch issue, item 8A, you didn't mention 8A, so I'm going to talk about that now. I looked at the photograph of it. It looks like scrap metal to me. I'm one of these persons that's beyond his midpoint in lifetime, and if there was one thing I learned in my lifetime, you spend the first half of your life collecting stuff and the second half of your life getting rid of stuff. That arch doesn't look like anything that the city of Dunsmuir could use for any good reason. It doesn't look good. It's unsightly. It ought to be donated to a scrapper. Thank you.
Thank you. And if anyone would like to make a public comment on Zoom, they can do so by raising their hand. It is public comment time. So I do see someone on Zoom, and then we'll come back around and let the people who were in the room have a chance as well. So, all right, Mr. Hicks, you should be unmuted.
I think I am.
All right, you're good to go.
Thank you. In view of the fact, I'm sorry, David Hicks, I live about a block and a half up the street. In view of the thefts we had in connection with Christmas lights and extension cords, I just had a simple thought. I think it might be worth the city's time to and money to put up a few cameras to record that kind of stuff on a round-the-clock basis, just in the downtown historic district. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. All right. Is there any other further public comment this evening?
Hi, good evening. Debbie Spagnolo, 4120 Edith. First I want to thank you for my concussion. I received it from the street sweeper not being used. The leaves and the slime in the gutter caused me to slip and fall. So I don't know how long I'm going to be able to even stay right now. Secondly, I've been to every meeting this year, missing one in May, and it baffles me as to why the two new council people ran and got voted in when neither of them attended a meeting. And I want to know what their motive is. I'm not putting you down. I'm not say anything bad. I don't understand. How come you guys have never been to a meeting all year long? And there was a man who spoke, and as I did last time too, that it was said that you guys took an oath, and hopefully it's gonna be for Dunsmuir and not to be puppet string pulled. That you'll have an open mind and you'll see what's going on and you'll see exactly what's happening. And so I hope you have your own thoughts and not someone else's. And third, you kept the city manager who's been fired the last 3 times, the last 3 jobs he's had. Sorry, I'm not real steady on my feet right now. He's guilty of neglect. He's kept an employee who has been non-truthful, done illegal action, made threats, and is far from a liaison for the community. For the code enforcer, dog catcher Mark Allen needs to be let go. He has harmed many citizens with his forceful actions, his lies on paper, and his bullying people. You pay $498 an hour to an outside attorney to tell him how to do his job. I don't understand that and why. Last, the city attorney, Mr. Kenny, is not very credible. I've been asking for public records since August. I've done all the right steps to get the public records, and he has put me off and put me off. I've even offered my services to go help get the records. And he, in the mail, I guess it was like the last week of November, and I get 2 pieces of paper in there and they are in reference to me. And that was really an insult to my intelligence. And that was not right what he did. And I still want my papers. I still want the public records. There's no reason why I can't have them. I've looked up all the laws. He has put me off and put me off and put me off.
30 seconds.
And all I've said in all of this, I've sent a complaint to the grand jury. My second one is almost done. This time I have 100 signatures to include in it. And this is just something that I thought of the other day. If it comes down to Dunsmuir, turning it into one, I'm not sure the right term, it's called a 5-mile town where I've seen it on commercials where they have communities that are set up so it's a radius that people don't have to do anything. And then ending.
Debbie, your 3 minutes are up.
My time's up. Okay.
Time's up.
Just don't turn into Scrooge. Open your eyes.
Thank you. All right, is there any further public comment this evening? Right, seeing none, I will close public comment for this evening. All right, and with that, we will move on to council and staff comments, starting with the Sheriff's Department this evening.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Deputy Jacobson. I'm stepping in for Sergeant Ortiz, who's at Shop with a Cop currently. Because I have that going on tonight, which is awesome. So, and I just wasn't able to make it up there today. So he gave me this. Essentially, it says that you guys have contracted for 5,280 hours of patrol time for the 23-24 fiscal year. I think he might have meant 24-25, but as of this date, there have been 1,692 hours that have been completed. 33% of the fiscal year is complete, and 32% of the contracted hours have been completed. This number may change upon receipt of additional logs. So, thank you.
Cool, thank you. City Manager Reith.
All right, Mayor and Council, so we have been quite busy with the storms and preparation for the storms. Most of our focus from the public works side has been on storm preparation and storm recovery. We're pretty close to getting caught up from the storms before Thanksgiving. We did have a rock slide on Butterfly over the weekend. We got that cleared out. We did have a finance committee meeting since the last meeting. We're working on audit. The last couple of days have been nice. We've been out and get some potholes. Sewer collection project is currently underway. Cox and Cox has been out and about doing work on that up in North Dunsmuir, primarily right now. The solid waste JPA meeting, which was today. Actually, we didn't have a quorum. We still had a really solid discussion, but we didn't have a quorum. that was unfortunate. Then we had reached out to solid waste for study for the amended contract. I have been in touch with the county to discuss land negotiations and the library. We had a claim in with the library for the damage there. We're just awaiting what that looks like for a scope of work from the adjuster side. So we're in those discussions as well. We did onboard the new planner, Yuba Planning, in the last week. And so we spent a lot of time. She came up here, met all the staff, and then we did have time, did a kind of a transition with precision engineering here just this week too, and then a number of other things. So with them, and City Hall will also be closed from December 23rd through January 6th due to staffing shortages. There will be staff available just by appointment. You know, you can call in, just not open.
All right. All right, is that it?
That's it.
Councilmember
I
Lucchese?
think.
I just want to say congratulations to the chamber and businesses. The Candles in the Canyon was a very nice event. Got a chance to go to that for a little bit. And just want to wish everybody happy holidays, and I have no other update.
All right. Councilmember Hubbard?
No comments at this time.
Councilmember Sebring?
No comment.
Councilmember Bryan?
So good this evening.
All right. And I'll keep mine short as well tonight, and just echo Councilmember Lucchese's comment to thank the chamber for all the hard work, Candles in the Canyon, and also all of the businesses in town who were open and made it a great event. It was also good to see the two newer businesses open and showing off a little bit that day. So then the last comment I have for tonight is that due to its proximity to the holiday, the first meeting in January is canceled, and the first meeting of next year will be January 16th. So with that, we will move on to committee reports, which I believe is the Finance Committee, and as the chair, Vice Mayor Bryan, I will let you.
Yeah, so we did have a successful Finance Committee meeting. The agenda item was introduction to city finances for our new treasurer. She was sworn in. I do want to remind the public at large that we do have some opportunities to serve on this committee and others as well. Check that out on our website. That's all.
All right. There were no other committees, correct? That met at that time?
That's correct.
All right, with that, we'll move on to item number 7, approval of the minutes for December 5th, 2024.
Motion to move for the minute, accept the minutes for December 5th, 2024 is presented.
All second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes passed, or minutes approved. With that, we'll move on to item 8, consent agenda, which today consists of 3 items: check register for 11:30 through 12:13, community development block grant with Siskiyou County Protein and Produce Program, MOU, and item number C, accept Union Pacific Turntable Arch as a donation to the city of Dunsmuir.
Motion to adopt the consent agenda, items A through 8C.
All right. I'll second that. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda approved. All right, item number 9, public hearing, of which today there is none. So we'll move on to item number 10, old business. We have 3 items today. We'll start with letter A, consideration of signing a MOU between the city of Dunsmuir and Siskiyou County for library services.
Mayor and council, so about every 2 years, I believe, we enter into a new MOU with the county. This one's pretty much unchanged from the previous one. And so it is basically outlines who's responsible for what, and that is kind of coming into play right now with the damage to the library. So we're working through that and have been discussing with the county on how we do the claims and those kind of things. But this kind of outlines that responsibility. Basically, we're responsible for the structure and the utilities, and the county is responsible for the contents. So the library, books, and all of those types of things, and all of the contents. So And I believe we have not signed one. We're currently out of agreement right now.
Was there any discussion in the MOU over county increasing their funding for the library system?
That's pretty much a non-starter from the county standpoint. You should talk to your politicians at the county level.
All right, Councilmember Lucchese, I know you wanted this pulled from consent last time, so I will start. I assume you have some questions that you.
Don't really have a question, more of a soapbox.
Well, would you like to?
We can open it up for
Public comment first. All right. Does anyone have any questions before we go to public comment for the item? All right, with that, I will open up this item for public comment. 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Please limit all commenting to this particular item only. With that, I will open it up to public comment. We will do people in the room first, followed by Zoom.
That battery might be dead. There it goes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Red light. Yeah, we have a really good public library for such a small town, such a underfunded town. We have a really good librarian. Carrie's a great librarian. She puts on different programs, speaking engagements, guest speakers. The library is really well maintained. The stacks of bookshelves is really nicely done. There's displays that are really nice. I should also mention Wes. We're lucky to have him as a worker in the library. I'd hate to see every year the librarian having to beg for her salary. That's kind of the way things have gone in the past. It's just like rather than just a regular thing, but you know, whether she's paid for by the county or by the city, I don't know. It's a tangled mess, but I do want to say that in the item, I noticed that it's dated 2022 in that memorandum of understanding. I don't know, I guess maybe something slipped through the cracks in times past, but I'm just guessing that maybe it was the leaky roof that and insurance issues and how to repair it and who pays for what might have brought it to the forefront, might have precipitated this memorandum of understanding. Anyhow, we have what we have today. One part of, well, I want to say I'm curious as to who was the author of the memorandum of understanding. Was it the county or was it the city? Because it kind of affects how I think it should be handled as far as an issue of that's in the memorandum of understanding of the overdue book charges. The way it works now in the library is if you have an overdue book or a late book after a couple of days or a week being late, somebody from the library, usually Karen, will make phone calls to the person, and she spends her time calling up the people who have overdue books and asking them to bring them in. She's very conscientious about that. She's very protective of the property of our library, make sure that it's there. The memorandum of understanding talks about library fees. And my thinking is that if those are in keeping with the county, then we probably ought to just go with it. But I think in Dunsmuir, which is so economically disadvantaged, you have people that are going to borrow books and they have to move, they get evicted, and it could be a problem. Right now, there are no fees for overdue books. You just bring them back and that's the way it is. But there's a $20 charge for a lost book or a missing book in the new memorandum of understanding. So anyhow, consider who was the author and who we're agreeing with. But I just think that the fee structure is going to be a problem for economically disadvantaged Dunsmuir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there any other further public comment on this item? Seeing none, I will close public comment. So one question I had before anyone else goes. I know in the past we had run into issues where the city had tried to go out and help the library get a grant. But since we are not the agency that has control over the library, that got in the way. Is there anything in this MOU that would help streamline that process?
No.
No.
Actually, if you take a look at page 21, 2.6, coordination and management of programs and grants that are applicable countywide.
Which, page 21, which one?
Of the packet.
Yes.
Yep,
Which-
page 2 of the MOU, sorry, there's 2.
2.
in the
No, it's
packet.
2.6, you said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
item 2.6, coordination and management of programs. Theoretically, that is the county will make provisions to provide that, but the county does not provide that. But it is their position per the MOU that they would only go for programming for countywide support. The difficulty in getting any type of state library grant is that it has to have the library system apply for it, so that it includes physical maintenance and physical improvements to the building itself, even if the library does not own the building. So to apply through the state library program, you have to have the library branch itself. Now, it's different in Mount Shasta because Mount Shasta took over the library and manages the library. It is not a county library, but they are part of the county system. Yeah.
Right.
And this is the same memorandum of understanding that the county has passed for several years now. So just to answer that question, where it came from, who drafted it, it's a longstanding county MOU that we just haven't been signing for several years because it is what it is. So.
All right. Anything else, or is there a motion?
I think the only reason it came back up that I didn't realize that it had not been approved was that I think they needed to report something to the state. And with the new librarian on board, then all of a sudden after she's reviewing, realized that, oh, we didn't approve the MOU. So therefore the paperwork couldn't be submitted for whatever reason.
So, I mean, could we amend it and approve it and send it back to them?
I mean, they'll probably not want to do that. They'll have to take it to county council to see what we want to approve, but I mean, it's within our power to make amendments and send it back. I mean, that would be my preference, if it's okay through the chair. So the Siskiyou County Library System defunded all of the branch librarians several years ago and moved them over to basically kind of a volunteer contractor position. And so people don't get paid to run the library. So Karen is technically a county employee, but she's not a county employee. They don't pay her, but they give like a slight stipend, but it's a little fuzzy in terms of how that all works. But basically they defunded the library and didn't refund it. That being said, it's a pretty terrible system. If you read the MOU, it states in here that they put it on all of the communities to take over facilities, IT management, equipment management, and rollout, any type of pieces related to volunteerism or anything related to the librarians themselves, which can be a pretty expensive endeavor. But then the county also goes back into tax sharing agreement negotiations and claims that they are spending $113.13 per resident on the library system within their general fund.
So times like 48,000?
45.
45,000.
4.8 million, ish. But anyway, so I don't understand why the cost burden gets put onto the communities without really any say into that. Additionally, Siskiyou County is not holding up or not capable of holding up their own MOU, because if you read Appendix 2 and then look at the responsibilities of Siskiyou County, they are supposed to organize and manage a Siskiyou County Library Coordination Committee, which has one representative from every community that sits on that, in addition to the county librarian. I've never heard of the committee ever meeting or any opportunity to appoint an individual to that committee. It's on page 26, page 7 of the MOU, at least the one that I'm looking at, because I know there's 2. It's an antiquated system, and frankly, it's not really a system at all for how you run this type of facility. And it really just puts the cost burden back off onto the city for a county function and a county service. So really the only thing they're managing is the circulation services, which is great. That's phenomenal. But they're also not, I mean, they're not really contributing.
You said they're claiming $114 per resident?
$113.13.
For
Library services provision from the general fund.
Yeah, and I believe the library actually receives like $1,500 or $2,000.
It's $1,000, I believe.
Yeah.
So if Siskiyou County is gonna sit on the aspect of, they're claiming that each new resident contributes that much to the services and they'll need to appropriate that much of their general fund, I'd like to actually see them appropriate 4.8 million to the library system.
Agreed.
I think that, it's not a lot of money. I know that sounds like a lot of money to a lot of people. It's not a lot of money when you think of how many libraries you have spread across the county itself, but that could pay for upgraded IT, upgraded computers, because as we know, libraries just for books is not really adequate for maintaining services nowadays. You have to adapt to become more community inclusive. And so you see a lot of libraries either becoming business centers or community centers, or bringing in some of these other services that make them multi-use facilities. And there's just no, I wouldn't say desire, because I don't understand the intent of the Board of Supervisors, but I think there's just no effort put forward to even really make this a useful service in Siskiyou County, which has a very high illiteracy rate for the state of California and the United States in general. And so I just don't think it's appropriate to sign on to an MOU that essentially does nothing. Additionally, I don't think MOUs statutorily can have fee schedules within them because they're not our fees, they're county fees. They're adopted by resolution by the Board of Supervisors. So the point of having a fee schedule in an MOU with a community is, it doesn't do anything. It's not legally binding. It also has to have a nexus for declaring why they're charging those pieces, or a statutory reference for why they're charging that. But that's my tiny soapbox. I've been trying to get a decent meeting with the Board of Supervisors for a while now to talk about the library, because it is a useful service for the city of Dunsmuir and its residents, but it has terrible hours, which is not a function of Karen or the volunteers or anyone in Dunsmuir. It is a function of a broken system at the county for a service that's essential for a community. And so the hours suck. There's no coordination with the school board, which would be great. There is a library up at the school system as well. And so coordination between those two entities would be great for education outcomes. It's an underutilized service in a county that desperately needs it. And so it's disappointing, but it's not surprising, honestly, for this county. So that's my beef with it. I'm fine signing an MOU for 1 year. That was going to be my recommendation, is to amend this to be June 30th, 2025. Because rubber stamping this, if that's what they need for the insurance to help us, get their books back, or restored from the water leak, or do any of that, that's fine. I'm happy to do that. But rubber stamping something that essentially doesn't do anything for either party is stupid.
Mhm.
So.
I have some comments.
Yeah, good.
I think one of the things I've thought about in the past, and maybe now is a relevant time since this is in front of the council, is would the council consider looking at potentially, we'll send it back with a 1 year or through July or June 30th, like Councilmember Lucchese mentioned, but I think I think we need to have a bigger conversation about establishing a special district within the county that has their own ability to operate independent of the Board of Supervisors. And be able to actually, take care of the library itself. And, Tim Holt's been here many, many times talking about the library, and, there's a dedicated group of people in Dunsmuir, and they have the same dedicated group of people in Mount Shasta that I'm aware of. And so I think every community sees that value, but for some reason at the county level, it just seems like they don't care enough. So I think maybe our recommendation back to the board is we're only going to approve to June 30th, and we want to see a countywide committee to look at the feasibility of going through a special district process, so all libraries can be managed outside of the county's authority.
I mean, I'm just gonna put this out there. If they're claiming $113.13 per resident for library services,
Prove it.
Or at least that's what they're
then,
claiming.
I mean, what was that?
At least that's what they're claiming.
Yeah, well, you're about to see where I'm going with this. If you included the 2,000 residents roughly of Dunsmuir and South Dunsmuir, so that's $226,000 a year, not their $1,000 that they give. And then we have to provide the rest of the money for the library to operate. I mean, I'm just gonna ask this, where's the other $225,000 going?
I mean, the bigger piece too is a lot of these programs are subsidized through the state library
Yeah,
as well.
of
So,
course.
you know, claiming that they're maintaining a circulation system that's
Sure.
subsidized by the state, there's plenty of funding available through the state libraries, but yeah, that's basically what Mount Shasta did, was they took over the building and they took over the service provision and they got I think it's a 0.5% sales tax. That it's special.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not enough money, I'll tell you that, it to run that facility, but that's basically what you have to do to actually have control over these types of facilities. But if there's no one else who wants to talk about this, I'll motion to approve the library MOU with Siskiyou County with the amendment to page 4 of the MOU to strike June 30th, 2026 and insert June 30th, 2025.
Through the rest of the fiscal year. All right.
I'll second that.
And then there is no financial implication to this since it's already.
It's part of our.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. With that, we'll move on to item B, approval of an MOU between the city of Dunsmuir and Siskiyou Economic Development Council.
Okay, and just to note, that is on page 41. There was a accidental addition of a staff report and a different set of documents in the middle there. So beginning on page 41 for that memorandum. Mayor and Council, so this item was before us, I believe, in February of this year. And at that time, the SEDC has requested an increase. They had not received an increase in a decade. And so at that time, the council felt it was appropriate to table that item until we felt like we were in a good position financially. I can say that I believe we are in a great position financially from the general fund side, and bringing this back to approve the memorandum of understanding with Siskiyou Economic Development, and our increased price is $15,000 for their services, and I can say that I am appreciative of their efforts here, especially with Quentin spending all the time he does with all of our businesses and even coming down twice a month. So they have kind of upped their game a little bit. Thank you, Quentin.
All right, any questions?
I just want to add for the public's benefit, we did get a very in-depth presentation, including some of the budgets of EDC and their subsidiary organizations at the Finance Committee. And we were mostly looking at our fiscal shape, not so much the benefit. And we greatly appreciate both allowing a city manager on the board. I think that's been a really positive development. And of course, Quentin's magnificent efforts here in Dunsmuir, including the twice a month business meetings. So those are on Fridays, first and third Friday? Okay. First and third Fridays, what are the times?
10 to 3.
10 to 3. If you're interested in running a business or run a business and need some help, some resources, come to the chamber on those days. Thank you, Quentin.
All right, with that, I will open up this item for public comment. 3 minutes, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 30-second warning. Please limit all comment to this particular item. Seeing no one, I will close public comment on this item. All right, with that, I do have some discussion I'd like to have on this. First off, so I know this was based around the fiscal year, and we pay per month correctly according to the MOU.
Correct.
So we have been paying the $6,000 level. Now, are we talking about raising that? Are we talking about paying them that per month level that they asked for the rest of the year? Or the entire amount that they asked for? Because those are two very different numbers.
I know what Finance Committee recommended at the time, but
Yeah.
You get to choose.
Finance Committee was just thinking when we do our new budget, the next year, that we ought to visit the increase at that point in time. That was the recommendation at the time. My understanding is we're in an MOU with them, but we're still at the old one.
Correct.
6,000. I believe there were some other issues, and I don't want to keep them waiting. I guess I'd be comfortable starting forward in January at the $15,000 a year level.
Okay, so by that, do you mean that we will be paying the,
No, I
15
mean that
divided
we'll
by
be paying
24.
15 divided by 12, starting January 1st. So
okay,
for
15
January's
divided
month.
by 12, so that amount per month?
Yes.
Okay, it's just a little, I wanted to just clarify that since the different between the calendar year and the
And then
fiscal
the
year.
only question I had is for EDC. I know we were the first city that was visited when this was brought out. I'm very hopeful that the other cities have found it in their budgets to increase as well. Do you know if these numbers are accurate? Yeah.
With all the signatures,
Mhm.
you'll see DocuSign and all that.
Oh, yeah, in the
Yeah.
back.
Mayors and administrators.
Okay, so no Tule Lake and
And that's it, and no county,
no Dunsmuir yet.
and no county.
No, the county has it and was by signature.
Okay.
That's up there.
Okay, cool.
The city is on, or
Alright.
county is on.
Well, isn't this a wonderful kind of cost sharing venture? for student
So the other thing I would like to, since we do have a representative from someone who works at the EDC here, one thing I would kind of like to request is moving into the future, I would really appreciate, as a member of the finance committee and as a member of the city council, if when we are approached for increases in funding matched up with when we were working on the budget. So that way we could get that into our proposed budget. And then that way I assume you're operating on the fiscal year as well.
We have a few, yeah.
Okay.
Depending on which funding cycle. So my programs run on 3 different ones. The EDC runs July 1, June 30.
To be
'Cause then it
fair,
could
we
be-
did originally bring this in February,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah,
usually
this-
when you're working on the budget.
Typical budget season.
Yeah.
Yes, they did bring this to us
Originally in-
during budget times.
It was
No.
February,
All right, well, we're
yeah.
happy to pass it now. I move we adopt the MOU with Siskiyou County Economic Development Council, adjusting our rate to 15,000 a year, starting payments prorated for this year, for the second half of the year, starting in January.
I'll second. All those in favor?
I believe
and
this
we
needs to
roll
be-
call. Yep.
Councilmember Lucchese,
Aye.
Councilmember Bryan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hubbard,
Aye.
Councilmember Sebring. Aye. And Mayor Clarno.
Aye. All right. Item passed. Thank you. Right, with that, we will move on to C, code enforcement priorities discussion.
All right, Mayor and Council brought this forward originally in, I believe it's November. And you guys asked to table it to just, think about the process, what, kind of options there are, and then come back and discuss it again. And just want to bring us back before you to have the discussion about, what kind of approach the city council would like to have, and then kind of some thoughts process on the implementation and priorities, or I guess I'm just leaving it open for that discussion, so.
Any questions before we move into public comment? Seeing none, I will open this item up for public comment. 3 minutes, 30-second warning. Please limit all comments to this particular item. And with that, we'll do people in the room first, followed by Zoom.
If I'm understanding this right, I don't understand it. I think that Mark Allen has done much harm to this town. I have found out things that he's done personally to me as a law enforcement agent, I'm sorry, not talking so clear. he needs to be reprimanded for what he's done. As soon as I have a few more facts put together, I will be presenting the city with a good faith proposal about him and what to do. And what I found out what they did with my car illegally, he needs to be followed up with whether he does or doesn't do his job, because he hasn't. I read all of the statements or the procedures, I'm sorry, all the procedures of what to do when a car is to be abated from your property and whatever else. When it came to me, he's done nothing. He has also slandered me in the city office about my dogs, which is not true. They're all licensed, they're all vaccinated. And he blatantly opened his mouth and said how I don't follow the law and all that. The man is very rude. He's not professional, and he's a downright bully. He's taken people's cars off their property that don't need to be done. He took my car off, and I recently found out that when I had the abatement warrant, it wasn't followed through with as it specifies by law. He had 2 weeks to take my car and to work things out with me, and within 1 day, he broke our verbal agreement, and he just did what he wanted to do. And that being said, I tried to get a hold of the judge who signed the abatement. In the abatement, it also said there was 30 days to accomplish it and to destroy my car, which was a nuisance, which there was no proof of my car being a nuisance. And I think the city owes me my car back and all the stuff that goes with it. And that man needs to be fired, no questions asked. I have 100 signatures that are going to the grand jury about him. And it's just sad. It really is sad that he has done this. I have no respect for the man. He has no respect for any of us whatsoever. He does what he wants to do. I looked up his license on his car. He seems to be a dealer, which is, what's the word? It's not a proper thing for him to be doing two things at once.
30 seconds.
He just needs to be inspected and he needs to be let go. And for an outside attorney to be hired to tell him what his job is ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dwight Bailey, 5906 Castle Avenue. I didn't understand that we've been doing this aggressive code enforcement since 2018. I thought it come after that. The fact is, as pointed out in this by our city manager, recovering the costs of these liens that you plan on putting forward, that is obtaining ownership of buildings. I don't understand why this council wants to obtain private or ownership in part of 300 homes and several businesses downtown. That is the direction that it appears to be going. A lien is a lien. It is something that I don't think is good for the town. I never have. I don't enjoy the fact that you're trying to tie the code enforcement officer to the right company, Seven Right Company. I don't think that's a good move for the thing. But if you are going to tell people that we are going after 300 houses and we are going to obtain ownership in some of these buildings downtown, explain that program to them. Take that courage and take the liability that is going to go along with that. This organization has been sued by other cities. I don't want to see this city tied up in legal action of this type. I don't think it's good for the city. If you think it's good for the city, please champion it. Let the people know we're coming after you. So you're going to do what you're going to do. And I would suggest that you think about the liabilities you're bringing on, not only the city, but yourselves and all other members of the community.
Thank you. All right, is there, oh, I do see we have a comment on Zoom. You should be good to go.
Thank you. No, I think Blake muted me, but now I'm good. I want to address briefly two things, something the sheriff does and a community liaison experience I had. Regarding the vehicle code, because I live right on Dunsmuir Avenue and I'm out enough to see almost every day, there are just a few handful of people who think that Dunsmuir Avenue is a freeway off-ramp, and they come flying down 45, 50 miles an hour, even all the way down past the children's park. I had one almost run me down in the street. I didn't even see him coming. So I'm hoping that some attention might be paid to speeders on Dunsmuir Avenue by the sheriff's office. So that's all I want to say about that. Now, about the community liaison, I heard a lot last summer and before last spring of complaints about Mark Allen. And I thought that the complaints about him showed not just poor judgment by him, but a lack of instruction and leadership by the people that supervise him. I thought it was completely out of hand. And I think Mark stepped over the line many times. So I want to just leave you with an anecdote about my experience with him. My back fence on my home fronts on Sacramento Avenue. I'm never out there. One day I got a letter from Mark Allen, a few pages long, threatening me with prosecution. And of course, being an ex-prosecutor myself, I'm not intimidated by that. And at the same time, I knew that if I didn't do what the city was demanding that I do, and if it pursued it, which it probably wouldn't have, in my opinion, but if the city had pursued it, I'd be facing a misdemeanor charge. And if I got convicted, I would lose my license as a lawyer for the past 52 years. So I had to take it seriously. I couldn't just ignore it. And so I set up a meeting with Mark. He didn't show up. Set up another meeting with him. He finally did show up, I think, on the second or third time. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3. And he told me that he and I met behind my house. And for the first time, I saw somebody had put some graffiti up on my back fence, and it was illegible because somebody else, and I think it was the city, because the color of paint that was used to cover up the
10
graffiti on
seconds
my
left.
fence. Pardon?
10 seconds left.
Okay, so just to
Yep.
make a long story short, I think the city covered it up and then told me I was
Your-
conducting a nuisance, but you
Your
can't
time's up,
say-
David.
Oh, okay.
All right. Any other further public comment? Seeing none, I will close public comment.
Through the chair.
Yep.
So the item that's before us is about setting policy, and I just want to remind everybody on the council, we only have 2 employees. We have the city attorney, we have the city manager. The performance of other employees is not the jurisdiction of the city council unless we're being called as an employee appeal board, which we've had to do in the past, but this is a way of at least talking about policy direction. So I just wanted to kind of cover that before we get into discussion on the item that this is about overall policy.
All right, with that, let's get into overall discussion.
I mean, I guess from my perspective, I'd like to see a little bit more education complaint-based approaches. I think at this point, I'd like to go with staff's recommendation. That's on page 47 of the packet, page 2 of the staff report, outlining, where we're going to be focusing our efforts for code enforcement. I appreciate some of the initial stuff that has been done. When we first hired a code enforcement officer, we had a number of dog bite issues, animal control issues that have gotten significantly better, in my opinion, and I've heard from other people that it's gotten better. But this isn't 2018. We don't necessarily have the same issues that we had back then that we have to deal with. And I think a lot of the things that we're moving into is a lot of redevelopment pieces. So similar to the vacant and distressed building ordinance, that's a lot more administrative municipal code law rather than vehicle code or any type of other penal code access aspect. And so I'm fine doing a proactive education compliance-based approach. And then also going with staff's recommendation for how they propose to approach the different code sections enforcement.
I was kind of leaning the same way. I know a lot of the community, I think, feels it's time to kind of shift the approach a little bit more in that direction. Where there is still enforcement of code, but there is also a lot of room for education on why an individual is breaking the code and not just coming down with action and working a little bit more towards solutions. So I was kind of along the same line.
Yeah, I find this approach, while somewhat useful, it doesn't fully encompass all the nuances of code enforcement. I mean, it lays it all out like it's, there's clear choices. Of course, we wouldn't want the proactive education compliance-based approach if we could afford to do that. But there's a number of issues, say, when we have really outdated municipal codes that really ought not to be enforced, and it's not the intention of council. When, say, code enforcement discovers that there's these laws that might have a conflict with the public good, or suspects that, bringing it either to the appropriate channels and staff or directly to council so that we can address those. We have such little capacity for enforcement and so many people, even small as we are, that we do have to prioritize. Even, in a ideal world, if we're trying to be proactive, we're going to be somewhat complaint driven. So I kind of think what I'd like to say is I'd like to be more education and compliance and solution based with it. And I think maybe one way to do that might be to support staff in the education component. I also think priority wise, there's certain things that council has independent of this already said over and over again that they would like to have the priority be. And we can always revisit that. But things that aren't, I don't see why they couldn't be almost complaint based. Like if there hasn't been direction given by council in the last 5 years, 10 years, then I think that would be complaint based. And if something is incoherent in our code, then I think we should revisit it. And I know that takes time, but we could at least get direction if there's uncertainty. So, I mean, if I had to pick one of these, obviously I'd be in line with, we need to definitely be kind and courteous with people. We need to seek compliance and provide people with all the available solutions. But ultimately, we do also need to enforce the code on items that are important to the council.
So with the new planner on board, our discussion this week did lead down more of your discussion about changing code. And so some of that will come, I need to look at my budget, but it's more project based. Like I'm going to take, code amendments and stuff like that. And I'm going to shoot them over to Yuba planning and be like, okay, here's our list. Let's prioritize some of these. What's most impactful? We did discuss a lot of these because that is part of the challenges of code enforcement, is that some of them are outdated, but there's still a code and it's still, we're required to follow that and uphold it as staff. So, that's, I was hoping that this would give us a solid, right after that one comes a horn. That could give us a solid direction with the education component. And, I will be looking for additional support from the code, getting code changes and those kind of things conducted.
Yeah,
over
and
the
the point
next
of that would be like, if you look at Dunsmuir vacant and distressed building code, that law has only been on the books for about 5 years, if I recall correctly. So the intention behind it's very much still there. I would say fully proactive on that has been the intention of council from the beginning. But then you get something like California building code where council might have deep set disagreements with it, but it is what it is.
You can't.
No, I know,
yeah,
but
yeah,
the point
yeah, you
being,
can't.
that might be more complaint based.
And I
Honestly, it's not a priority at the local level, although we want to uphold that.
I wanted to address something here that was brought up during public comment this time and in one of the previous public comments as well, I believe, on this item. And this might be something that's, since this issue has been going on since for many years, it might have been from before I got on council in 2022. And that's the number that got brought up, the 300 homes.
Oh, the
I don't
vacant
remember
homes.
that ever. I don't remember a number like that ever being discussed in relationship to code enforcement.
No.
No, that was a discussion related to the housing element, I believe.
That had to do with
Okay,
the
so
vacant,
that's-
that's the vacant housing count.
So that's a, yeah,
Vacancy rate.
Vacancy rate,
Yeah.
yes.
vacancy
there we
rating,
go.
and that is not, just double checking here, that is not what we are discussing here.
No,
correct?
so
Yeah.
there, we have criteria when it comes to vacant and distressed building code.
Yeah.
And there's a list
Mhm.
and we'll work through that with the attorney to ensure that we follow that list when we ask for compliance, and it's different for commercial. It's slightly different for commercial than it is for residential, because we do know that,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of second homes, and so
It's not based off of
for
that.
us to decipher that makes it really tough.
Mhm.
But, you know, an easy one is, oh, well, there's no water and there's no electricity. It's obviously vacant, right?
Yeah,
Those are the ones that we
It's-
have on the list.
it's not based off of the state definition of a vacant or
No,
a
no.
vacancy, but off
No,
of the.
no, we
yeah.
have criteria that we meet. I mean,
Okay.
we're not even, those aren't even. you
That's
know,
what I
mean,
suspected. I just
it's-
wanted to
it's very
double check and make
difficult
sure
to
that.
For us to decipher. I mean, if they're paying their water bill and they're paying their trash bill and they're paying their power bill, I mean, there's not much we can do about it, right? Everybody's entitled to own whatever property they want to own.
Mhm.
And so that's not our focus, you know, I mean, unless it's falling down on itself. You know,
Okay.
it's pretty, we have to decipher that type of stuff.
Right. Sorry, through the chair, no, go ahead, sorry.
No.
If you guys want to go.
Oh, I like the proactive education compliance approach.
I was just gonna ask, what is our training budget for code enforcement? And do we proactively send Mark to KCO trainings?
He
Okay.
does. He just, actually, I think that was in November. He was there at that training.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
And I know
KCO
he-
is the California Code Enforcement Officer Association. They do all of the certifications for California and the trainings. So.
Yeah, and I know we had just discussed wanting to attend another training, and so we're looking at that. No, I could figure that out. I have training budget that I can move around from another general fund to make it happen.
Yeah, it's a really good organization in terms of, you know, looking at different approaches and working with education pieces as well. So just, that's why I asked. So,
Yes.
Thank you.
Right. I think I'm looking for a motion.
I'll motion to accept staff's
Any
rec.
discussion?
It's discussion and action item are both checked.
Yep.
No? Okay.
Yeah,
Go for
I believe staff's looking for direction, and I believe they said in here they would prefer a motion. But I'll motion to accept staff's recommendation for the aspects of the code as outlined on page 47 of the packet, page 2 of the memo, in terms of enforcement of which code to which entity, and also move forward with the proactive education compliance-based approach.
Right, I'll second.
I have a brief discussion point. I'm okay with generally setting the policy that sheriff shall take care of California vehicle code, building official, building code and all that, kind of stay in your lane. I will say it still falls to the city management to ensure that the vehicle code is enforced. And sheriff has not always had the most time and resources to that,
Yeah,
having to serve
and
the entire county.
that-
So,
That discussion has come up just in the last couple weeks with the storm, so I'll take some.
yeah, as much as I'd love
responsibility on
to
making that decision.
reprioritize community liaison away from vehicle code, I think that's the right decision. We can't let the quality fall from the vehicle enforcement. So if we go back to pre-code enforcement officer, vehicle code enforcement, I think that's pretty unacceptable for the town. So
And we can always bring the item back.
yeah,
and
yeah,
change
but
it.
I'm just more pointing out, I'll vote for that, but we still have to maintain it, even though it's the sheriff's. So
agreed.
And thank you for all the work. I'm not saying you won't do it, but we've made a lot of improvements in that area in the last, I don't know, 6 years. So.
All right, with that, it has been moved and seconded. Is there gonna be significant effect on the budget for this switch?
Not really. I mean,
Alright.
we're budget, I mean, he's on staff and he's salary, and so it's just, I'm looking for policy
Okay.
direction, and now I can work to implement that.
All right, with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. All right, with that, we'll move on to item number 11, new business, item number A, letter A, Dunsmuir Downtown Revitalization Initiative discussion and potential action to authorize program funding.
All right, Mayor and Council, in light of our most recent, the completion of the survey with Cosmont and the community, and kind of to piggyback on that and keep our momentum towards revitalization of downtown, I've worked through this, kind of draft of a program that I wanted to present to you guys, and that would focus on our downtown, get some financial input from the council to encourage redevelopment and encourage improvements to buildings and in the downtown area. And so with this program, what I am requesting of the council to review and look at I'm requesting $250,000 of general fund dollars to incentivize for 3 different programs in the downtown. One, to incentivize the improvement of facades in the town center zoning district. Number 2, reduce building permit costs associated with improvements in town center zoning district. And number 3, reduce the planning applications cost associated with alterations in the historic district. And so I kind of broke those down with the bulk of that funding to go towards facade improvements. And I kind of laid out just like a little mini grant program. So I've done programs like this before. Previously they were CDBG funded. They were very successful. But I would look at potentially like a 50% match of the owner's expense up to $10,000. And then and then kind of laid out some of the items that are there. The challenge with the town center is most of it's a historic district, so then it requires a historic site alteration permit. One of the biggest feedbacks we get is, what do you mean I have to pay $1,500 just to change my paint color, right? And so one of the things that I felt between that and the building permit costs, if the general fund could supplement anything associated with those. So if they do have building permit requirements that they need to pull a permit, then the city would cover those costs. And I'm open to altering that if they want a 50-50 match or something like that. I'm just open to any comments towards the program, but I felt that a commitment from the council and all of the efforts that we put forward so far from the Cosmont side, I think this would show a long, good step towards revitalizing downtown and maybe getting some, partnering with some investment of the property owners. So I'm open for discussion.
So any questions?
I just have a question because this item, if I recall, kind of changed between last meeting and this meeting, although it has similar headline.
I never changed the memo at all.
Okay. Well, as I was understanding it, council has not met to prioritize the Cosmont, the city of Dunsmuir's downtown revitalization plan. We've adopted it, but we haven't prioritized within it. This is kind of, in my opinion, I like the program. I have some ideas on funding, questions on it, but I think maybe it'd be proper to prioritize from the plan and then develop individual programs that meet those priorities. This kind of skips that step.
Bordering on discussion here.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I guess I have discussion items. No more
Okay.
questions.
Any other questions before we move into public comment? Seeing none, I will open this up to public comment. 3 minutes, 30-second warning. If you'd like to speak on this item, now is the time to do so. All right, seeing no one. Oh.
Good evening, Quentin Gaddy, Siskiyou Avenue. some of my comments on this, I guess, would be, it would go under kind of the theme of measure twice and cut once. So I would, maybe before putting everything right into the general fund, maybe look at how some other sources of capital could be stacked to this. One thing I'm thinking in particular is the Ford Family Foundation. For example, they oftentimes will participate in grants like this and could, easily feasibly come in as either matching part of the city's portion or maybe matching individual business contributions portions. So that say a business was able to put down 5,000 and then Ford to come in with another 5,000 to match the city's 10,000, for example. So I would encourage the city to look at where some other, funders might be able to pull in. I know you guys have already gone forward on some other CDBG programs this year and some other things, but I wouldn't discount future years. So even if you get it started right now, I think you could still apply for matching funds down the road. So I would just encourage maybe like an open mind of, I think it's a good target. I think all the programs themselves would have good incentives, but I would encourage the city just on its fiscal position to look at how we can maybe leverage some other funds as well instead of just relying wholly on general funds. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, Dwight Bailey, 5906 Castle Avenue. We just went through, both the planning commission and this body went through the housing update. Some of the points that are made in this particular proposal could be going along with what we told the state that we're going to do over the next 6 or 8 years. All of those plans that we signed, both as a planning commission and you guys forwarded on, most of those, when it came to loan programs like that we told the state we were going to do, all of them put who is responsible for that. It listed only the city manager and the planner were responsible to bring these programs forward. We're bringing some of those programs forward now within this plan, but I would like to go have you guys, before you went any major decisions on this, I think that what we told the state, these programs should match that. They should go along with that. It's not an end run. It's not what we tell the state. One of the things that was discussed at the planning commission meeting, when I asked them, all of the programs that we put forward that we were going to do, all lined up with city manager, planner, and it took it away. And those were the things that constantly we did. Well, in doing that, I asked Rico at the time, I says, if we're going to have you do all of this extra work, both you and the city manager, you're taking on a great amount of work. Are we going to have to pay you more? The response was, Dwight, most of these things we're telling the state are never going to happen anyway. I didn't feel comfortable with that now. And I do feel that what we gave the state in that housing program, we should look back and try to follow what was done there. I think there was a great deal of work done with that. Some of this would correspond with that, but I would like to invite you to all go back and look at what we told the state we're going to do and see how well these programs match up with that.
Thank you. All right. Before we go to the next public comment. Yeah. All right, is there any other further public comment this evening on this item? Seeing none, I will close public comment.
Before you go to discussion, I do want to add, I do have a meeting with Ford Family Foundation. I didn't even think about that. I already have one established in January.
Okay.
So I will discuss that option. I wasn't necessarily looking, the intention was to just start the discussion on this. It wasn't to do a full adoption. I fully expect that we need to go to finance committee. Let's discuss the finance side of it. I do appreciate the comments about the housing element. So I will, our new planner is just on board, so she's getting familiar with all of that stuff. So I will throw this in front of the planner and see if there's any way we can tie some of those programs together and to also help implementation of the housing element as well. So I appreciate the comments.
Okay. Specifically specifically, yeah, if there was any way to tie this into, especially some of those downtown buildings that have residential or residential capacity, could be a good way to potentially tie that into the housing plan. All right, discussion wise, I'll just kind of start us off here a little bit on where I'm kind of thinking I'd love to see this go. I know Vice Mayor Brian already kind of brought this up, but having a meeting where we set priorities with the Cosmont survey, now that that's been completed, I'd like to see that. And I'd like to see this kind of go into the finance committee, where we can discuss exact financial implications. And I feel like we could pretty much or run those fairly simultaneously. We could bring in the general Cosmont plan and what direction we want to take within that while this is being reviewed in finance committee simultaneously, and then bring this back as long as it fits in well with that other meeting or with the Cosmont plan and the direction we decide to take in that. I don't see any reason it wouldn't, but that's just kind of my general thought process at this moment, but I'll let everyone else speak a little bit as well.
What do you guys think? Well, I agree. I think it should go to finance committee, and I think establishing priorities is probably a good idea with the plan. But I really like the idea of making it easier for the citizens to actually improve their buildings.
Yeah, and maybe some additional education and discussion on specifics of this, how people access it, and how we move forward.
Okay.
Well, Councilman Hubbard, I really agree with that. I think it'd be nice to develop the marketing side of it before passage instead of after for once. I think that might be a good way to, it's been a long time since we've done anything like this.
Yeah, so my intention, I guess, was to bring forward the discussion and then it was, once council adopts the fund and then adopt the, get the details of the program defined, have them adopt the details of the program specifically. So if there's alterations, right? So I agree with you. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah, just on that point, I was gonna say, I feel uncomfortable approving this right now because I'd like to see the eligibility of the individuals, because I don't, we're going through the CDBG program for funding to assist people with code enforcement. But if we have, bad players that we typically have going in requesting funding for, say, building permit relief for items that are not going to get them open, but I'd like to have a little bit more detail on like what the building permits that are eligible or who is eligible for these funding pieces. I know a lot of this is about downtown revitalization. We don't really clarify how much we're spending on residential updates versus commercial updates. And I think, just from my understanding of some of the people that I interface here, I don't think a lot of people would appreciate if like vacation homes would get a majority of the funding over, say, other people. So I think it needs to be really clear on who's eligible for each project. I am not against residences not getting this, because there are residences that are in the town center zoning, for example, and there are, some residential homes that could use a facelift, but we do have other funds potentially available for that. The other thing too is 100% building permit cost relief program sounds like it sounds like you're going to cover 100% of the building permit, which it's not how you outlined here.
Okay.
So I would just like to see that kind of language cleared up, because people are going to get all sassy about that. As we discussed earlier, people don't read.
Sorry.
But the other thing too is I'd like to have a time limit on these programs. One of the things that irks me is when people do a reduction in the cost of something and they just let the program float. It would be great to maybe do this over 2 summers, because then it gets people to kind of get through that process. 2 to 3 years is typical.
That was kind of my intention.
Yeah, and so I do like that you have ADA improvements in here, which is great, and the signage piece, because I know there are some people who just need those 2 pieces. So I'm happy that that's included within this. But yeah, I'd really like to see time constraints to it. I don't want people to be granted a facade improvement and then never follow through with a portion of the project. I don't think that's fair to other people who may have needed those monies. for that aspect. So those are just like some of my initial thoughts that I'd like to see flushed out in the program before approving it, is that eligibility aspect, and then the timeframes for, you know, when these programs would be over. I would assume it was when they'd hit the cap, but sometimes they don't hit the cap. And I'm gonna be honest, a lot of times they don't hit the cap. So having that time limit and getting people to actually open. So I think if these are associated with any of our registered vacant and distressed buildings, I'm happy for them to use these programs, but if they're going to use these programs and then not open, again, that's pretty insulting to other people who are trying to like get their buildings open and improved on that aspect.
That could be pretty nuanced, because this is nowhere near enough to get some of the vacant and distressed building there, but it could improve the facade enough to help foster future investment. I agree with the time limit. I like the idea of it, you know, being I'd even go for a tiered thing where maybe the first year you can get a larger grant, the second year like phased out over 3 years, essentially. So, you know, the longer you wait, the less likely you will to benefit from it. So it encourages people to act now.
I kind of agree with that, but one of the things I do have a concern, I don't want, I mean, at 150,000, I don't want 15 building permits all at one time. Because of staffing constraints, I'd be concerned of staffing constraints if we had 30 applications in one short period of time and then we don't have anything the following year. So I guess we can discuss that.
Yeah, that is an element to it. The other one I would go for potentially is similar to what we did with the waterfall community promotion grants. Maybe having a lower threshold of qualification for a smaller amount. So if somebody's trying to, I don't know how that, I mean, I'm thinking more about the facade improvement, but I'd also, with that, I guess I was envisioning, if we have pre-approved paint colors, we could kind of kill two birds with one stone and not go through the whole planning process.
Yeah,
we're already working on that independently, but roll that out at the same time as part of it. And maybe, you know, we keep the threshold pretty low if someone is only asking for $1,000 match to get something done or something like that, to help people who are, you know, don't need a ton of help, but they're starting to open a business and they need help right that second, you know?
Yeah, and I think my intention with writing that was not to say you have to spend 10,000, it's up to 10,000. So if you spend 5,000, then we'll match your 5,000, but I'm not gonna match it until I receive receipts. And so I think that's a detail that Councilmember Lucchese's, you know, wanting to see is like, what does that match look like?
And maybe how the money's doled out, because I know we've had this issue with the community promotions funding. And is it initial capital? Is it reimbursement based? Is it a portion of that? I understand the receipts, but
I think
I know you
100%.
resolved that for that, but I mean, for this program too, because if you do, I mean, it depends on the kind of business that you're trying to help out. I mean, if you have someone who's new to this, who wants to enter a new space, initial cost may be more enticing than say like a business owner who's been here for a while, or a building owner who's got a little bit more upfront money to deal with. But anyway, these are nuances. I apologize for getting in the weeds on this.
No, I appreciate it all. I mean, because it is one of the things I do, you know, is that I feel like it needs to be, you know, the way I ran the program previously was it was reimbursement based. Like they actually had to, like they're conducting the work and then they get the quotes and we approve that quote for that vendor. Like, hey, it's gonna cost me $7,000 to paint my facade and put new awnings on it. And we approved that quote for that vendor and that's what we reimbursed based on that actual quote.
So how about this? I'm gonna move that we table this item for the finance committee review, and also to have some of the things that we discussed tonight be brought back to council after the finance committee review, with just a little bit more of a flushing out of the program as a whole.
Second.
All right, and it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, tabled.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate it. All right. Mayor and council, so the next item, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
Jumping in front of me there. All right, we are on letter B, resolution 2024-21, adoption of request for proposal schedule for contractual city services.
All right, Mayor and council, been trying to figure out a way to make sure that we are conducting our RFPs in a regular timeline. as I've been here, a little over 2 years, we've had, a glut of RFPs in the last year. And I'm not particularly fond of doing so many in one year because then all of those contracts come due at about the same time. And so what I have had in a previous city that was successful to try and depoliticize these actions, but just allow staff to bring them forward. And then once the RFP is completed, then we enter into a new agreement. If we keep the same one or if we don't keep the same one. And then as they come up, we can establish, maybe we add an RFP committee and then they're, have a council member that's on that committee on an annual basis, and then they assist in the review process. And so the timeline I laid out here is based on when the last time we did it and how long ago it was. Some of them have been longer than a decade since we've done an RFP. Some of them, quite a few of them, we've just done this year. Like the city engineer, I pushed that off 1 year just because the number of projects we have this year with our city engineer. I felt it was a little more prudent to give them a little longer timeline. And then same with airport engineer, but all the rest of them, we've covered a good portion of them this year. And I just kind of laid them out as, best I felt that they would fit based on where we're at in their contract cycle. And then I think there was one on here, building cleaning services. I'm getting ready to put the advertisement out for that, and we'll bring that back to council early in 2025. Because, unfortunately Becky has passed. So that's one that I just put in 27 because I needed to fill a gap.
Okay. Sorry, the rental operations manager, is that?
That's what the
Parks.
Oh. And then the other question I had is the auditor doesn't have a second one.
Oh, I probably just forgot an X. We
Okay.
can add that on 2030.
I think one of the reasons why the auditor's a little different, because we work with Charlie and Charlie's maybe retiring. He's one of those people who's like lovely to have. And so we
he's
like,
great. I mean,
we don't
year,
bring up the R word often with him, but he could go any day. So it's kind of like,
makes sense.
he probably won't want another contract after that.
Fair enough. And then the contract will be determined.
Like, are we on a yearly contract with him?
No.
I think we have
3 or 5.
yeah,
Close to the end of that.
I think we're getting close, but
Yeah.
And I did, to be fair, that was one I did not look at the timeline. I just know we've had Charlie for a long time.
Because
So.
with the contract's not up, I don't think we need to revisit it with Charlie
Okay.
in that particular.
And
case.
we can, we can revise that.
Do we know when the last time we put out an RFP for the city engineer?
We did it in 2018, actually.
So 6 years ago.
We did it like right after we got on. I think the RFP had gone out the year before.
There's only one applicant.
It's usually Pace. There's really
Yeah.
not too many that come up.
We
to
did
this
approve a
side.
contract with Pace. I don't remember the RFP side of it. but we probably
Yeah,
did.
yeah. It happens,
Good
I
memory.
think, every 5.
Yeah,
Or 6.
we're in,
No, 7. It's a 7-year
well,
contract.
then that would probably align with that. And I can look at that one as well. And I know the airport engineer is one that we, they're specialized, so.
Just for it's not a question, so I apologize, but just a point of information for everyone. This is lovely. Because when we got on in 2018, we had contracts from like 1984. and
73 was our oldest.
1991,
Wow.
And 73. We had a whole bunch of what are called evergreen contracts, which don't have a deadline, which hadn't been revisited. I think we had like a 2-page contract with someone that we were giving a bunch of money to. So this is lovely. This is really nice.
I also really like the idea of spreading them over several years. Just that way we're not all getting hit at once. So
I hate to bring this up, but we do need law enforcement on this as well.
We do.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I brought it forward, because I was trying to remember everything that we had contracted. I just,
Yeah.
Law enforcement,
I can add law enforcement at the end.
Although unfortunately, we can't really schedule that out because we contract with the sheriff's office currently, and the county auditor's position at this time is to only do an annual basis contract. They don't want to do multi-year contracts. So I don't know if we want to keep that one separate since we're at the mercy of.
Well, and this
And
is
we
an
truly
RFP.
don't do an RFP.
Yeah.
Okay, good reason. Let's keep it up.
We did
Okay.
do an RFP for the last time we signed on to their large scale contract. We did have 2 proposers.
Well, I also want to maybe say that, actually, I think it should be on here. Let's just not put an X on when yet, because this should really be contracted services. The RFP side really is to be determined by, you know,
So, and my question here too is just kind of what we're voting on tonight. Because we already have pointed out that there's some things that need to be changed. Are we voting on the setting an RFP schedule that then can be customized by staff as needed? Or are we voting on this?
I would,
Yeah,
the reason I put it in a resolution is because I want it to be solidified by the council, so that way I don't have to, I can just issue an RFP, and then when the contract comes up, I would bring you guys the contract. So
Yeah,
that
we-
way it's staff can drive the RFP vote, and we will bring the outcome of that RFP to the council, so there's not this, and it solidifies it for the expectation for the contractors as well. Like I think I did, I mean, if you want to table it, one of the things that comments that I think I probably should add is that I did not review the end of the contract for the city engineer or the airport engineer. And I just want to make sure that I want to align those. If they're in 2025, I would like to just kind of hold on until that following year. Just, I don't want to, so that way the next time we don't have the glut, right? The first time is going to be a process because, you know, we just did the building official, HR, and planning, and I think we did one other one too. And so there's a lot of them that got done in 2024. And I just want to kind of
Space them out.
space that out because it's a big burden on staff to go through that process
so
for more than a couple of years.
I have a lot more to say, but it's all discussion. So unless anyone has any further questions, I'm gonna say that we, public comment time. All right, with that, I'll open up this item for public comment. 3 minutes, 30-second warning. Please limit all comments to this particular item. If anyone would like to make a comment on this item, now is the time. Seeing no one, I will close public comment on this item. All right. So I do have one big concern here, and maybe I'll give us 10 seconds for the train to finish. It's open tonight. Yeah. All right. So I do have one concern, and that is that sometimes there are factors, I feel like, that council needs to have some input when we go out for RFP, just in terms of what we're looking for as a council. Oftentimes we don't, but sometimes we do. One thing I would really like to see, just as kind of a safeguard against that, for if there is a situation where council feels we need to put input on, I am completely okay with having this and then having the city go out. But I would like, instead of just having carte blanche for staff to go out and put the RFP out before, you know, without council being able to at least see that that RFP is going out, I would really like at least maybe just to have the RFP go on to the consent agenda. So that way we can see it, and if it is something that we need to see, that it can get pulled from consent and discussed, but kind of just the general understanding is that for most RFPs, it's just going out the door in line with this calendar that we're discussing now. But I could easily see something like, you know, the building official or even the city engineer could be something contentious in a year or two, you never know. And, or there might be some big project that we're thinking of that we're specifically thinking we need something specific, or we need a change, or we need that RFP tailored in a certain way. And so I would really just like to see them at least every RFP, if we're not going to be discussing them like we have in the past. And I'm also pretty happy to take a lot of these smaller RFPs off the plate of discussion items, but I really would like to still at least see them show up on the consent agenda.
How about
when they're.
I'm absolutely okay with that. And I think the intention was not to take away that option. It was more of a schedule. So that way I knew what I needed to bring forward to the council. you guys so choose, but maybe under item 3 of the resolution at the end, I could put in there something like, we could amend it and say, RFPs will be approved by council prior to issuance, on the consent agenda. Because you can always pull any item on the consent agenda off if there is something. But that way it'll run through the council and.
And it'll also make the public aware when
And
we're
then
putting
it
out
puts it
RFPs as
in
well.
front of the public as well.
Mhm.
And so we can add that in there or some version of that. So I guess I'm open to that.
Okay.
Related topic. I'm very much pleased with the schedule. Definitely the way to go.
Thank you.
There have been, I mean, I've experienced everything from council going through page by page, non-respondents, and having them on Zoom, a little awkward bit of circus. And we've also experienced staff just providing, hey, 6 applied, but we want this one without a lot of opportunity to understand the context of it. So I don't know if we need to set it in policy, but just know that there's certain issues I don't want to see one top response brought back to us. I'd like to have more of a role in the selection. Now, I'm not saying I need it to be a circus of every respondent.
Well, I mean, that maybe comes back to my original comment or my comment earlier, where if we want to establish a committee that adds, say, an RFP committee for the year, and then we address it and we can make it a standing committee.
Well, then it would be Bronick and
No,
Bonner.
yeah. So it'd be an ad hoc committee for RFPs, and then they would just be appointed, somebody from the council would be appointed every year. And then I would just.
Schedule, you know.
I think, actually with the schedule, we could do that because I think the hard part in the past has really been that there are individuals, one great thing about this system of governance is that we have a diverse knowledge base up here. Where if you don't know what RFPs are coming up at any year, how could you, it'd be really hard to put that. But if we knew which ones are coming up, we could assign committee members to best suit which RFPs were coming up in that year.
And adding it to the consent agenda makes it a little easier in the sense that we know it's coming. So if a council member
And
wants.
you can always pull it from a consent agenda if someone has to be in their bonnet about it. So.
Okay, so we're not defining that in this. I mean, I don't see us doing that process. It does say in item 3, establishing a fair and objective evaluation process to assess the proposals. I think a large part of that has to do with how many respondents we get and what the nature of it is, because if we only get one, it makes it pretty simple.
Right.
Can we negotiate?
Yeah, I think this last year we've been pretty fortunate. For most of the ones we put out, we've got multiple respondents.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you for all the work.
So I'll motion to table the item with direction and to bring to the next meeting.
Okay. I'll second that. All right, those in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Motion carried. Yeah, item table. All right, with that, we'll move on to item C, council reorganization, council selection of new mayor and vice mayor. So for those who are unaware, every year, it's kind of a parliamentary system where every year amongst ourselves, the council chooses a new mayor and vice mayor. And then the next item, we will also be doing the committee assignments as well. With that, anything, Dustin, that you'd like to add to this particular item?
No, I don't think so. I think maybe just for procedural purposes, and from what my familiarity is with the last time we did this, basically for the public's purpose and understanding is that the council will make recommendations or nominations for who they think they want to be the mayor amongst themselves. And then there can be more than one nomination, there could be 2, then they will go through a voting process until they determine that whatever council members nominated, they choose as their mayor for the next year. And then they do the same process for vice mayor. And then after that, we'll move into the committee appointments and discussion.
So, and then for also just for public knowledge, in terms of what it means to be mayor and what the powers basically are of the mayor and responsibilities is that the mayor is really the first among equals on the council. The vote of the mayor counts no more or less than any other member. The big difference is that obviously the mayor leads the meetings. The mayor also has some input into particular agenda items. And oftentimes the mayor represents the city at events and certain boards such as the Lola meeting. The mayor will be the city's representative as well. So. All right, and with that, I will open up the floor for nominations for the mayor for the year of 2025.
Do you want to take public comment before?
Oh, yeah, let's do that. I can't remember from last year, did we do public comment?
I just went through a Rosenberg's rule of order, like hellhole, like
Okay.
you technically
One
take
each.
public comment before the nominations for each position. So
Good to know.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Apparently this process at Wairika was not fun. So
No.
hopefully we'll have a little bit more streamlined and smooth meeting than Wairika did. All right, with that, I'll open up this item for public comment. Anyone who'd like to make a public comment may do so now. It's 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Please limit any input to this particular item. And with that, I will open up this item for public comment. Make sure
Quick
it's,
question, can you be mayor more than once or twice, or does everybody have to have a turn, or how does it work? Like, say if I want to nominate, do we get involved or just you guys? Just you guys, okay. Thank you.
all right, any other further public comment? And I will answer that question once all public comment is finished up.
Yeah, I have just a question. Are we going to do a separate public comment for each item B, C, and D, or are we going to do all of number 11 at once?
I will answer that question as well once public comment is done.
Oh. I can't say.
Is there, well, all right.
No more public comment. We're good. Close.
Yeah.
All right, is there any other further public comment?
On the,
All right,
I think
seeing none,
it's fine.
I will close public comment on this item, and I'll start off with that one. There will be separate we've already done B and A, and we had done public comment for those items. For C and D, that was the public comment for item number C, and there will be another public comment period for item number D. So with that, the other question is, it is up to the body to determine who is mayor for that year. You can be mayor once, twice, 0 times. I know we just had someone who served a couple years ago who decided that they did not want to be mayor for their entire term, and so therefore they never served as mayor. They did serve as vice mayor several times though, so it really is up to, there are no set rules on, yeah, exactly. All right, and with that, I will open it up for nominations.
I'll nominate Mayor Clarino to continue to be mayor.
I will second that.
You don't need a second for a nomination.
Well, there you go.
Sorry.
Are there any other nominations?
You do need to acknowledge if you're accepting the nomination or not.
Okay, I will accept the nomination. And so just how this goes, there's time now if anyone else would like to make nominations.
You
The
can nominate
nominee
yourself.
Yep, someone can nominate themselves. And then if anyone so chooses, they can either explain why they are accepting or rejecting said nomination. Right.
Motion to close nominations.
All right, it has been moved to close the nominations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Close the
Aye.
close the nominations,
Close the
yes.
nominations, okay. Aye, nominations closed. All right, I do accept. I would be happy to serve again as mayor. I would prefer not to do it again next year though. So,
Well, thank you
But
for
I do
your
accept.
year of service. It's been wonderful. Could you let us know why you would like to serve as mayor this upcoming year?
I have very much enjoyed serving the community. I've enjoyed representing this community. I've enjoyed listening to the concerns and comments made by the citizens. I feel like I've made some good strides in representing some of the businesses and nonprofits and their needs along with certain groups of citizens. And with that, I would be very happy to continue that work.
Call to question.
All right, all those in favor of Mayor Michael Clarno continuing for another year, say aye.
Aye.
And with that, we will move on to the,
Look how easy that was.
thank you.
Public
And-
comment.
Oh, public comment
For
for Vice Mayor
vice.
Ismail. All right,
Yeah.
with that, we will open up public comment before nominations on Vice Mayor. So we will actually have 2 public comments for item number C. So if any member of the public would like to make a comment on the selection of a Vice Mayor, they may do so now. 3 minutes and 30-second warning. All right. Seeing no one, I will close public comment on this item.
Do you want to just clarify what vice mayor does for everybody?
So the vice mayor, the main role of the vice mayor is to, well, no, yeah.
Serve as the mayor when
Is
the
to
mayor's
serve as the
not.
mayor when the mayor is unable to. So if the mayor is unable to attend a meeting, the vice mayor will then run the meeting. If the mayor is unable to attend a city event, the vice mayor can attend, then the vice mayor will act as the representative of the city to that event. At least will speak at the Lola meeting if the mayor is unable to go. And that's basically the purpose of the vice mayor.
And also, if the mayor is out of country, then the vice mayor is the mayor during the entire period.
What if they're both out of the country?
Never happens.
De facto leadership.
All right. With that, I'll open up nominations for the vice mayor.
I would like to nominate Councilwoman Sebring. If she's willing to accept, of course.
Do I accept now? I accept.
All right. All right, I call the motion. All those in favor?
Motion to close the.
Or motion to close the nominations? All right.
Second.
All those in favor of closing the nominations?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Would you like to say anything before?
No.
this? Okay. All right. With that, all those in favor of Sarah Sebring being nominated as vice mayor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right. With that, we will move on to item number D, committee assignments. Review and make new assignments as needed. City Manager Reef, I'll let you take this one.
Mayor and council, so we have quite a few committees. We'll start with the first one. So currently, finance committee, city treasurer, is one of the standing members as well as citizen members, which are taking these applications. City staff, which includes myself as the manager, finance director. Additionally, there are 2 council member positions available for finance committee. It's on now. Okay. There are 2 council member positions available for the finance committee. Currently, Councilmember Bryan is the chair and Mayor Clarno is the vice chair. And I believe that Councilmember Bryan's term is up, correct?
Yeah, members of council, I would very much enjoy being reappointed if you see it fit.
All right. I would like to nominate.
No, it's not like a nomination. We can just do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys want finance?
Everybody should at one point in their council. They can do it.
From my perspective, I think it's very important. So,
Blake's
and I appreciate everything that Councilmember
Oh, do you want to? Yeah.
Brian and Mayor Clarno have contributed, but I also think it's very important that we do have the new members. It's a very good committee to be on. I'm
If you
just gonna
don't,
put that out there.
if you are not on finance committee this year, I do highly suggest 1 or 2 of you join that committee next year.
So
And take my,
I would be happy to do so. Work conflicts would be a complication with Monday meetings. If there's any flexibility in availability of meetings, I would be open to it.
All of these meetings are just based off of our schedules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
it just happened that the last 2 cycles of the finance committee, Monday was a great day.
Monday has turned into a good day for most of the members. It's actually been fairly awkward for myself as well.
Yeah.
Also, I apologize through the chair. When do you want to do public comment? Do you want to do it before we start this discussion?
We're doing public comment for each
No.
committee, no.
Oh,
This
gosh.
is
we'll be
just-
real-
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
This is
it's
just-
not.
Then yes, before we get into
Committees.
this, we will be
Yeah.
doing public comment before we get into discussion on any one particular item. But let's just go over the committees
Okay.
that we will be appointing everyone to tonight, just so that way members of the public can be informed for their public comment. So we've got Finance Committee, Solid Waste Committee, Airport Advisory Ad Hoc Committee, Mossbury Falls Trail Ad Hoc Committee, Public Safety Ad Hoc Committee, League of Local Agencies, Siskiyou County Solid Waste Joint Powers Authority, Dunsmuir Recreation and Parks District, Board of Directors.
That is not
No, that's
eligible
not
for
us,
tonight.
yeah.
No.
That's LTC, CDBG Loan Committee, IRWM, which I don't think we have the
We
city
don't-
council member
There's no
of,
city council member on
Yeah.
CDBG.
and Airport Land Use Committee. So basically just, oh, and the Chamber of Commerce liaison.
Bless you.
So, and we are only discussing the council members tonight. We will not be discussing any other members of the public or anything or any of the public members. Those are done during separate meetings when their terms are completed. So with that, I will open this up for public comment.
Roy Bailey, 5906 Castle. One item that I did not see on there, and I could be wrong, it was January of not last year, but the year before, this body formed a ad hoc committee that was supposed to look into codes. Immediately after pending, 2 members, Lucchese and Bryant, were nominated to that committee. I have only seen one written thing in the agendas from that point forward that ever indicated that the committee met one time. The fact is, I am led to believe that an ad hoc committee, like the finance committee, I've expressed this before, that's where you entertain members of the public. That particular committee that was in order has never been listed. It's not listed here for reappointment. I think that that committee needs to be terminated or actually put into the committee, an ad hoc committee status. I think it was terribly wrong when it happened. I don't believe that if it only allowed 2 members of this body to meet independently with the finance, with Dustin on an ongoing basis to bring about codes. I would like a report of what is done in that committee. If not, I'd like to see it done away with or put into what I consider legal status, which would be a nominated position.
All right, thank you.
I'd like to call your attention to page 56. I'm on the list for Solid Waste Committee. At the time that I got on the committee, it was an ad hoc committee. We didn't solve the problem. We didn't make any progress, so it became a regular committee, not just an ad hoc committee. Problem I have is there was no term limit specified when I got on that committee. And so I don't know, I've been informed by a council member that the term limit on me has expired, so it doesn't matter. I just like to say that I'm still interested in that committee, as well as the airport committee, and even the finance committee as a citizen volunteer member. So I have turned into Blake already for the finance committee, my request, and I know you're not going to be appointing that tonight. You're just doing the council members, so that's fine. But I just wanted to know that, let you know that, you know, there should be defined terms for the citizens as well as the defined terms for the, you know, council members. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a quick question. There was an application form in the office about applying for the finance committee. Is that still open? To be on that? Is it? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, okay, so I can turn my application in like tomorrow? Okay, thank you. That's what I needed to know. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there any other further public comment this evening? All right, seeing none, I will close public comment. All right.
I guess really quick, just for the other council members, so within the Brown Act, there's two different styles of committee, and so like tonight, we're considered the city council is a standing committee under the Brown Act, and so you have to give 72-hour notice for regular agendas, 24-hour notice for special meeting agendas, you have to have a quorum to hold those meetings, and there's a bunch of rules around it. And so when you see standing committees versus ad hoc committees, a standing committee has an agenda, it's noticed, there's a number of other pieces to that. So finance committee, for example, is what would be called a Brown Act committee because they do have the agendas, regular scheduled. Solid waste was a standing committee as well. There are formation documents in there and they do have timeframes for the appointments. But the other thing too is committees don't necessarily meet on a regular basis all the time. Finance has a lot that they do. Solid waste was a little bit different when it was formed, but it is a standing committee per the formation documents. But other than that, an ad hoc committee is basically when there's a non-quorum amount of council members or planning commissioners who serve on like a special committee that like deep dives a very specific topic area, and then they come back to the body as a whole to be more educated on it. Typically, a lot of cities will use ad hocs for special projects, audits, if like people didn't do well on their audits, which we do well on our audits, so that's good. And we also have the finance committee that does that. But so ad hoc committees do not have to have agendas, they do not have to notice to the public, and they do not have to require public participation. So for standing committees, there are rules where you have to have public comment and give people that ability. Ad hocs don't. And so that's why typically with these ad hocs, you may not have seen agendas for them. And so they have, each one of them, when they're formed, have a very, very specific purpose and that they serve. And so, for example, the Public Safety Ad Hoc Committee really just looks at the Sheriff's Department MOU and contract that we have, and then meets with them on a quarterly basis to discuss any services or needs. We're laughing because we've attempted to have meetings several times and it can be very difficult with the sheriffs and ourselves with our schedules. So if anyone wants that one, feel free to have it. But just for everyone's information on what the difference between a standing committee is and an ad hoc committee is and why that's slightly different. And ad hoc committees, again, same thing, they don't necessarily meet on a regular basis. They meet when they're needed.
Okay.
So for the airport pieces, there's like two different, one, I believe we're statutorily required to have an airport, or no, the airport land use committee is a county statutory committee that never meets. And then there's the airport advisory ad hoc committee, and that one, Councilmember Deutsch and myself, or previous Councilmember Deutsch and myself served on. And that was really just to kind of talk through some of our airport plan updates. So we have not had that ad hoc committee meet very frequently, but it does meet more often certain years than others, depending on what kind of projects we have going forward. So that's just to kind of like help you guys understand. So if you want to be more involved, the standing committees are the one that meet more often.
Okay.
Ad hocs are really kind of just as needed. And then the assignments that are seen here, so Lola down, those are all like committee appointments. And so most of those will meet more often than not.
Could I just correct a few items that aren't correct? One, city treasurer on the finance committee is now Hannah Smith. She was attended her first meeting. And then Mossbury Trails, ad hoc committee is actually Lucchese and Brian. Kessler hasn't been on for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
So if we could update that. And then I want to thank Mr. Bailey for reminding us, we did actually have the ad hoc code update committee with Brian and Lucchese.
Mhm.
All right, and with that, let's start digging into these. So Finance Committee. And we're just talking about Matthew's
I'm
term.
fine with Councilmember Brian staying on. I'm not eager to do that with my schedule.
Because I very much enjoyed my time on the Finance Committee. I do think everyone should do it at least once or twice while they're in council. It is extremely informative. But I know there also are some projects that are currently being tackled that I know Councilmember Brian has invested a lot in.
So I don't see any dissent. So
Okay.
are we
Cool.
okay going through these as just a consensus?
I think first and foremost, we
As long
could,
as you two are okay with consensus. Yeah.
yeah. Well, we need to also address Deutsch and Kaiser's assignments.
Yes, yeah,
Yes,
no, I mean, like,
yeah.
we're not gonna motion each and every
Cool.
single appointment.
All right.
If we're all in agreement,
Absolutely.
we'll just take that as
So
full action.
solid waste.
What I'll do
Kaiser-
is I'll make notes and then at the end, I'll come back and we'll reiterate it before you guys make a motion for adopting.
Yeah, so
We'll talk about trash
So-
when needed.
solid waste, I do highly recommend one of you try to be on that committee.
Trash.
It's an extremely important issue. It was recently, our last 218, we approved for 1 year, and we'll need to do that 218. It's
Again.
very important to us that it is done correctly. That being said, I do have another citizen member of the committee I'd like to, or an idea I'd like to approach. But yeah, that committee does need to start meeting hopefully soon for working on the updated 218. Are you interested in staying on that committee?
Yeah, it's intermittent meetings. I think we have one that we're gonna need to do in Q1.
So yeah, it is not every second Monday. And that time and date can be moved as well.
Okay, I would be interested in being on that committee.
Okay. I'm
We can talk about Stephen's
happy with that as
character.
well. All right, then we will, if there's no.
I'm cool staying on airports.
But we will need to fill in someone on this one.
Again, we don't really meet on this one
Airport.
that much, but we may be
I-
meeting next year.
I will have some stuff to bring forward on that here shortly, because we do have an airport project coming up, so we can meet and discuss what that looks like before we bring the bid back to the council.
And again, this one is just the 2 members of council, so it's a lot less people to coordinate schedules.
And it also does not have regular meetings. All right, who would like to be on the Airport Advisory Ad Hoc Committee?
It is actually kind of
never been on it.
fun.
I've
I
never
mean,
been
it
on
is
it.
kind of nice.
You've never been on it?
I've never been on it.
It might be a fun ride this year.
It's pretty nice.
I might be able to get you a plane flight.
I don't know if I trust the pilots. Sure.
Your wife is a pilot. Oh, she's been on planes at the Mott Airport.
Right, so is Airport, Matt?
I'll do it, sure.
Okay.
But I'm going to request I cede my spot on the code update committee.
Let's handle that one here.
Okay.
in a
I
few
think
minutes.
honestly, we can bring that one
Oh.
back for defuncting
Well, I
it,
would-
because there was kind of a conflict between that planning commission. Now we have a planning consultant. That was kind
Well-
of the reason why we did it.
Let's talk about that one when we get to
Okay.
that.
I have an
Right.
idea on future agendas that might address that.
Mossbury Falls Trail Ad Hoc Committee. So Councilmember Lucchese, would.
I don't think
Brian,
we
would you like to-
necessarily need this anymore.
I think we need it, and it's essential that Lucchese stays on it.
I don't think we need it. Why do we need it? What do committees accomplish?
It's ad hoc. We can always bring it back if some lovely donor decides to donate us $2 million so we can move forward with engineering.
Fine, yeah,
All right,
put
all right.
me in
always
there.
bring it
How about this?
Fine.
We keep it, but Lucchese goes off of it.
I would be interested in being on that.
Yeah, put Sebring and
Yeah.
Brian on it. Go for it.
Sounds good.
All right, Public Safety Ad Hoc Committee, which is currently Lucchese and Brian.
Well,
be on it.
Yay. Can I go off?
Huh?
Can I go off of it?
What was that?
Can I go off of it, please?
All right, looks like it's Matthew and Brandon, unless anyone else would like to be on it. Would you like to stay on that one, Matthew? It would be nice to have someone who's been privy to previous negotiations.
I would appreciate that as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will stay on it, but yeah.
Because it's an education process.
It's okay. Sometimes we don't meet.
I just don't want, no offense, but I don't want to overwhelm you guys because it can get pretty complex, so.
All right,
They only meet quarterly though. So that's nice.
I would like to have a discussion on the code ad hoc committee at some point. If that committee does meet, I would very much like to be the council member or one of the council members on it.
Could we just motion to put that as a future agenda item to bring back the charter for that?
Because I'd kind of like to discuss how that, or the purpose of that committee, the planning commission, how it interacts with that. Like, is this sending stuff to the planning commission to send stuff to us? Is the planner generating? So I just kind of like to discuss it.
Just throw it in
overall.
a future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because one of the things I wrote down for future agenda items was to have a joint planning commission meeting with the council
Yeah.
to kind of establish priorities. So I don't know if we could accomplish all that underneath that umbrella, and then that gives the planner direction to just kind
We
of
can
move
have it as a
that.
future
So
agenda
we'll,
item where we discuss it.
we can,
Okay,
we'll
We're
do
getting
that.
off.
sounds good. Let's do that.
Okay.
Lola,
It'll be.
so as mayor, generally the mayor is the Lola representative. So I'm more than happy to continue going on with that and having the vice mayor take my place if I'm not available to go to a Lola meeting.
I agree.
All right. JPA.
I think I don't even think I think I'm the alternate, but Dustin typically
Yeah,
goes to it.
I'm the primary and she's the alternate. That meeting does take place in Wairika, just so you're aware.
It takes place during the day and it can be a fairly long meeting when there's quorum. And so I would recommend keeping a staff member as the representative for the city.
And
the other thing we don't have on this list, since
I'm actually the chair of the committee right now.
the other thing we don't have on this list, since it's kind of similar to the JPA, is the continuum of care, of which you are on there and I am the alternate. So just FYI, I'm also fine continuing along with that.
I will say there was also the Collier's Interpretive Center, which is no longer open.
Hmm.
But we had appointed a member of the public to that. But I would not recommend bringing that back anyway, because it's not open.
Okay.
So.
Fair enough.
She was left.
All right, Parks and Rec, we don't have anything to do with right now, so. LTC, I know Bruce was on that, but doesn't that?
So this is, let me express the importance of this one. So they are the ones that oversee the funding. They over stage, so our bus system, they also oversee our funding for our tip, our roads. So like the project we did on Hope and Apple and Brandstatter just finished. They oversee that funding countywide. It is a Brown Act committee or commission, and it's managed by, they actually have an executive director.
You know what time their meetings are?
10 a.m.
In
in Wairika at the Transit Center.
And they're like decent.
They're decently long. I don't attend them. I have maybe attended one in 2.5 years. Bruce handled it.
And that's not as a city, that's city select committee can appoint.
No.
Oh, each
Oh,
city
wait,
has.
sorry, yeah, no, each city gets a member and it has to be a member of the city council. It
Right.
can't be a staff.
That's why I never have
So
attended.
city staff tends to go to those meetings to listen and address any comments if needed, but the city staff cannot be a voting member.
I guess we'd all need to know the exact day.
It's the first Tuesday of every month.
Yeah, they just conducted it on Tuesday.
They don't do they do Zoom meetings or can you?
They do not. It is a true like JPA type Brown Act where you have to be in person.
The county is fairly anti-hybrid meetings these days too, so.
I mean, I'm in Wairika. I don't particularly like to take out of my actual work day,
Yeah,
but I'm there and I'm probably the closest, so I could.
Well, think about it, because you might not want to, as far as having a lot to say from Eureka's standpoint, to do both at
Yeah.
once. I'd consider it, but I'm not thrilled.
I also would consider it, but I'm not thrilled as well. I echo that sentiment. I actually would very much like to be on that committee. That is just a terrible time.
Yeah.
The timing is horrible. It's even horrible for me. I hate 10 o'clock meetings in Eureka because it takes a half day.
Yeah.
I want an 8 a.m. meeting. And so maybe that's a discussion we need to have, like the JPA meeting today. We have 10 members. We had 3 show up.
Even if that movie, I mean, I would have so much easier time getting to that meeting if it was at like 2 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Just 10 a.m. on
Workday.
and on a work day, that is insanely rough.
I technically have the flexibility in my work schedule to do it.
Let's,
currently.
is there any way we can reach out to them and see if that meeting time can be changed?
They're not changing it.
I know, but
Siskiyou County.
Well, I mean, it's not
Did you
even
know-
the county. It's
I was on LAFCO for like 3 years. I was the chairman for a year. We'd meet sometimes like 3 months in a row, but then we'd go like 6 months with every meeting being canceled. Is this one like a religious
No.
thing?
this
it's
is
religious.
very religious, very consistent.
Very regimented. It's important. You actually do stuff.
Yeah, it's the only thing Melissa Cummings has to do is make sure that this meeting happens and so she can get authority to move forward with funding.
I might consider doing it. I do have a few, I have passionate feelings about transportation in the county. It's just it'd be difficult to go to that meeting every time.
Yeah.
Any availability from the new council members? You're in Wairika?
Yeah, but Tuesday,
No,
especially if it's a long
Tuesday
meeting.
at 10
There's
too.
no way.
It's not very accommodating for people who actually work.
Yeah, I can pull that off even if I wanted to.
Not that you don't actually work, but you just have a very flexible schedule.
True.
You have your own business. And
Yeah.
But
All right, well, I can do it for this year, but I'm not committing to the future.
okay.
If that works for everyone.
Thank you.
And I think that's it.
The
I'm fine
Loan
staying.
committee doesn't have anyone. Yeah, that doesn't. Airport land use committee.
Sure, they don't meet.
Well, should we have?
Add it to your resume.
That's the
I was gonna say
That's the county
Should
level
we
one.
not have someone who's on the airport committee, also be on the airport land use committee?
One
Well,
I
the,
didn't
the,
s-
the irony is that it's for the land use of all of the county airports and Mott is the only non-county airport.
Oh, but we get representation. Awesome.
Yeah,
One thing I noticed that wasn't on here was SCORE, but that is me and Blake.
no,
I wouldn't recommend anybody with
absolutely
staff.
not. I would never.
Blake is very active. Blake is now
Absolutely
the
not.
treasurer of SCORE.
Oh,
And he also is on the CPJRM.
So for those who are wondering,
CPRJMA.
SCORE is,
CJPRMA.
is a group of cities who have banded together for insurance purposes.
Yeah, it is like a half day or full day in like
It's-
Red Bluff.
It's
All right,
yep, Anderson.
Anderson, I'm
A
sorry.
full day in Anderson
Wow,
once a
Julian,
quarter.
They're both terrible.
feelings are really coming out now.
They're
Chamber-
both not great.
Chamber of Commerce liaison.
I'm fine with you staying. It's
I would
fine.
like to propose that we revisit the Chamber of Commerce to make it, make ourselves a member and have a city manager be a member of the board. Whether
Okay.
it's.
Well, I know
ex
they're
officio.
considering.
That'll be
They're considering it, but,
We can't make them do anything. They're a separate organization and they have their own choices.
well, we could direct city manager to ask them if that's acceptable, as opposed to a counselor representative.
Yeah, I mean, I did ask to be on the board as the ex officio, so I believe they're gonna approve that at the next meeting, so.
Okay, then let's hold off on that till we hear the results of it.
And then I could always report back.
Cool.
Can we table the LTC? I wanna, as long as you're all right with it, I might be able to dig into my schedule a bit. And discuss the LTC at the next meeting.
So we'll bring back LTC at the next meeting
Yeah.
and the
I might be able to make that
municipal code ad hoc.
Okay,
Cool.
All right, future agenda items.
Do we
Does
need a
anyone
motion
have
to adopt or
anything that they'd like to add to the agenda?
Consensus.
And also, I did notice that once again, future agenda items are missing from this particular agenda. So let's
didn't
make sure
have-
that they're on there the next time. But does anyone have anything to add other than what should be on there?
I have two that I'd like to add. One is, I would like to do kind of a discussion and goal setting kind of component in our next meeting, because we're getting ready to go into budget. And so that will help myself and staff set priorities around those goals, and we can look at programming associated with those. So I would like to have that on the next meeting. And then also, there was a mention a while back about a joint planning commission meeting. I think now that we have a new planner on board, I would like to establish that, whether it's, maybe it's a special meeting, but probably push it, let her get onboarded and stuff, and then maybe towards, February or something, where we have a special meeting with the planning commission.
Yeah, and I'd actually like to include the finance committee and do some Brown Act training, if that could be arranged.
Yeah, I think I'll add Brown Act training on there.
And we need to see who's up, who needs code of ethics training as well.
Oh, that reminds me. I have mine in my car I need to turn in.
Yeah, we're actually just, with Aggie, we were just reviewing that yesterday.
Get ready for emails to take the courses.
Yeah.
And once again, the two of you, I believe, are going to the trainee of the Sacramento new council member session put on by Cal Cities. Pretty much all those trainings will be made available to you to take at that that conference. That's one of the main points of that conference is they schedule, those various trainings, so that way you can go to the ethics training in the morning, do the Brown Act training in the afternoon, do the sexual harassment training in the evening. So, or the next day. So generally, you can just knock out all those trainings and they time it where it's within that window of time you need to get it once you're elected. So, so yeah, for the two of you, you have an easy way to knock all those out at once. For the three of us, we need to make sure that we're on top of all those. Okay. All right, with that, if no one else has anything, I move that we adjourn. All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.